Kia ora, this is the Benchwarmers podcast. A couple of Kiwi lads talking basketball, taking more wayward shots than an England football penalty kick, telling more long-winded stories than Harry and Meghan in a six-part doco, and trying to shoehorn in. I can't even say shoehorn. There you go. More topical references than something White Lotus. All right, boys, let's get into it. Joining me this afternoon, we tried to put an application for Joe Harris from the Nets. Somehow we ended up with Joel Harrison. I don't know how quite that worked, but it's great to have you here.
Good to have you back, Ben. Good to have you back.
Well, not really. I can't even say shoehorn. And joining us as well, we wanted Tyrese Maxey. It auto-corrected to Krisky.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here, you know, with the big three. Well, with the small, tiny three. Basically, if LeBron, Wade, Bosch took their talents to South Beach, we'd take our talents to an Auckland beach, which is full of fecal matter at the moment, apparently.
Yeah, Cox's Bay or something there where you can't swim most of the year. I'm surprised if you wanted Maxey that you didn't get Max Key.
Well, yeah, Max Key sounds very similar to Maxey, right?
And he's a bit of a baller, I've heard, although ACC member Mania Stewart, he hangs his hat on the fact that he crossed him over at half court.
Oh, really?
5 years ago and mysteriously can't find the footage. So, yeah.
It's been deleted. Maybe the GCSB deleted it. You know, maybe, the government thing. Maybe it was a John Key cover-up or something. It was.
They called it Crossover Gate. It was a whole big thing, but let's not get bogged down in that.
No, because it's another big week. It's always a big week in basketball. You know, there's been overtimes, there's been blowout wins, there's been some fights going on. It moves so fast this season. This is the thing. Like, you just think, I've got my head around everything that's happening. Then there's a whole nother 6 or 7 games and a whole lot more drama.
Yeah, this is where, so in the winter, what is it? It's summer now. In the winter, I do the NRL, right? That's my sort of thing. And that's nice because it's just 3 days every week, whereas the NBA is every day. Some days you've got 10 to 15 games on. Joel, I mean, you're a guy that's across literally every second of every single game. How do you do it and keep a full-time job?
I'm looking forward to...
He's very bad at his full-time job. That's the thing. He works
sucking my full-time job, and I miss most of the games.
A lot of admin has dropped in the morning, but he's across the basketball for this moment right here.
I'm looking forward to having a few weeks off, work as well, just to watch as much NBA as possible. Watch some more full games, I reckon, because there's some great games coming up. And the Christmas Day game is going to be exciting as well.
Yeah, and late news has just come to hand. Cade Cunningham out for the season.
Right.
Season-ending surgery.
He's opted for it.
Yeah, he's opted for it. Right. Although last week on the podcast, there was a big call made about Cade.
Yeah, Chris Reeves, great guy, came and filled in for you, Boyce. Did a great job as well, the way. So you're lucky to have you back here this week.
Got to work on my shoehorn.
He said that he traded Joel Embiid after his slow start to the season for Cade Cunningham because he was like, I'm going to build my whole fantasy team around Cade Cunningham. And, yeah.
Oh, can I just say, from the get-go, that is a shocking trade. And we got this guy on to be an expert. Jesus. Didn't Joel put up 50 the other day?
He put 53 and 12 up yesterday, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, he's building for the future. Well, that's what I like about it right now. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happened this week. We're going to get into some of the big points very shortly. Celtics led by 45 points against the Suns at some stage this week. That was a few days ago, so it feels like things have moved on. Jazz came back to beat the Warriors, scoring 5 points in 13 seconds, which is pretty crazy. And then Kyrie, I thought it was kind of good from him. He said a lot of things lately. It's been shocking, but he had your logo drawn on his shoes, which I thought was quite a nice little thing for Kyrie to come out because he's obviously got no sponsor right now.
He's been dropped. That's right. So, I mean, at this point, I don't know, Kyrie is an amazing athlete, but who's willing to go near him just because of what he could potentially say or do in the coming years? Like if I was one of those lower brands like Lotto shoes that you see in the warehouse or Mizuno, maybe I'd get in there, but any big names like Under Armour,
you're probably not going to go there, right?
No, definitely not.
He came out that game, and he scored. He had a great game. He killed it in fantasy, killed it on the court. I believe the Nets got the win that day as well. But it was such a bad taping job. Like you clearly see the Nike logo in the background. I'm surprised they didn't take any legal action against it as well.
What I've loved, though, speaking of fashion so far, is some of the players bucking the trend against, and they usually come in, they look so fashionable. They come through, they walk in, they have it all over ESPN social media. Some of them, I think Herb Jones from the Pelicans, I think he just wears free gear. He's like, I want to spend my money on other things, support my family. And Jarrett Allen from the Cavs, he got mocked this week for basically turning up in a hoodie and track pants.
I like that.
Looked like he was going to Kmart and on Palmerston North at like 11:59 on a Wednesday or something. I think we've got some audio of him talking about it.
I had to pull open the curtains wide to check deep, and I pulled out the best thing I could find. No, I'm not too worried about my outfit. I just went in being comfortable.
Jarrett, you make enough money, big fella. You need a valet. You
I
need
needed
a personal
that.
valet. Yes, sir.
I'll get a designer too.
There you go.
Hey, let the Fro show. Look, man, I don't care what you wear to the arena as long as you keep putting up these double-doubles.
Facts.
And playing
That's
defense the way
There we go. Thank you.
Do you, boo-boo.
Yeah, so he's just like, hey, I saw it in the wardrobe, chucked it on, and why not? I mean, that's kind of how we approach each day here at NZB, right?
Absolutely, especially Joel. I mean, look what he's got on today. But I like this. So Tim Duncan was the famous one, the big fundamental. He was the best power forward, one of the best to ever touch a ball, and then he'd show up every day wearing a baggy polo and baggy jeans, look like crap. You know what I mean? I really like that. He just let his basketball do the talking. And I don't really like people like, Devin Booker really gets on my nerves because he just is so scuffs. It's ridiculous, you know what I mean? And James Harden wears ridiculous stuff. So if you're going to wear crap stuff like what Joel does, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, all right, well, let's get into to the action.
I'm wearing a Warriors jersey to support the Golden State Warriors team.
All right, let's get into the starting five.
This is the starting five for the Benchwarmers.
Y'all ready for this? Now, is it a new rivalry in the NBA? The Pelicans versus the Suns. Things got heated at the end of the game, so they were basically winding down the clock. Well, they were meant to wind out the clock, the Pelicans, and then Zion busts out like a 360 windmill dunk, and everything kind of got a bit feral at the end of the game. And we've got some of the fight action.
I don't think Jose and Chris Paul at the end of the game. And he got into Chris Paul.
No, but this came from the last two possessions, though.
Right, but
it came from the last two possessions with Larry Nance shooting the layup when the game is over, and then Zion doing a 360 when the game is over.
Yeah.
But this is how rivalries start, though.
Right.
This is how they start.
It's unfortunate, though, it's going to be over before Christmas, the season series.
So Sun's not happy about that. I didn't really know that was an unwritten thing that you had to wind down the clock and you couldn't showboat.
Yeah.
Like, well, who says this?
I know, right? And I mean, it never comes up in our basketball games because no one can do a 360 windmill or just a dunk at all. I personally think if you're going to, I mean, there's still time on the clock. Zion, one of the most electrifying dunkers to ever have the ball in his hands, is literally standing next to the hoop. If he doesn't do a 360 windmill, I'll be gutted as a fan, you know?
As a fan, that would have like made your night as well, seeing him do a dunk that probably would have come close to winning the dunk contest as well.
As they were tussling after the game, and what I liked was, I think it's Pierre the Pelican, who's the mascot for the Pelicans, got involved to hold back a player as well. So that's pretty nice.
Wow, St. Pierre in there, keeping people at bay.
The patron saint of sushi is also, you know. St. Pierre's really, sorry to dog leg a tangent there, I love St. Pierre's, but really they've combined sort of French with Japanese, you know.
I'm so confused,
But they've done it, and it works, and with an amazing jingle on radio. So, you know, it all works. It shouldn't, but it does.
It really does. Yeah, like putting Saint in front of it as well. It's like, what are you guys up to? We're just making sushi. Oh, yeah, fair enough.
It seems like the Suns this year are the haters. It seems like they're equivalent of what the Penrith Panthers are in the NRL.
Wow, they're not winning every
they're not
game,
as good.
Joel.
They're not as good, but it seems like they got the players like D Booker and stuff who are
The Book Batch.
similar vibes to like Jerome Luai and the.
So, okay, well, the Panthers, I didn't realise the Panthers, I guess because they're one of the top teams. Is that why people want to take them down in the NRL?
So the Panthers, the difference is the Panthers
She's really dog-legged into an NRL chat.
We're on Mad Monday potty here. Good to be back. But the Panthers literally dropped like 2 or 3 games out of 25 in the season. And then they win it. Like, they're untouchable and they're a bit cocky about it. Whereas the Suns, Devin Booker, for some reason, I really got beef with this guy. He's so cocky. He's the guy who doesn't want to be double-teamed at training. And Chris Paul, who I used to love because I'm a Clippers fan, you know, he whinges a bit. DeAndre Ayton should be so much better. I dislike the Suns a lot. So dunk on them as much as you want.
Then there was a second game. It was sort of like a back-to-back, and the Pelicans, they smoked them in the next one. So, you know, the Pels, I think, are number one.
Top of the West, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or the top overall?
They're top of the West. I think Celtics are top overall. But
Yeah,
they're
okay.
coming in second in the NBA power rankings at the moment as well.
That is amazing. When you think of the Pelicans, literally a few years ago, they had Anthony Davis and no one else, and they were just the worst franchise, and now they're number one. They've done a really good job there.
Do you think Davis would be like, hey guys, I'll come back?
He's got a championship, like winking. But to be fair, there's nowhere for him because they've got Zion. They've got, they maybe put him at centre.
Ingram's been amazing
Ingram,
as well.
CJ
you know?
McCollum. Yeah, they've got a really good team. And then even their bench players like Herb Jones and, you know, Trey Murphy the third, who's literally got the word 3 in his name 3 times. Trey Murphy the third, who shoots mean threes as well. You know, they've got a great full roster, really.
And now it was Giannis' birthday this week. I'm a big fan of Giannis. He did a press conference. He came out, he was holding, for some reason, a large Homer Simpson doll. And he talked about what he wanted for his present.
My lady have anything planned for me. I hope they have something planned for me. Maybe like a birthday cake, maybe like a birthday card, or maybe like a birthday watch or maybe a jewelry. I would love that. I know if my family's watching right now, they should go get. After once I put my kids to bed, you never know what can happen. You know, might get a little bit freaky.
Greek freaky, I like
Yeah, the Greek freaky. So maybe that's where the Greek freak, the nickname came from. He likes to get a little bit freaky when the kids go to bed. Bit awkward if the kids are awake, so I see what he's doing there. But yeah, he's just got so much personality, so it's awesome.
And I mean, what do you buy the guy who just signed a max contract? You know what I mean? So like, you could buy him a watch, he'll add it to his drawer full of watches. So I mean, the best thing you can do is maybe make him something, a macaroni picture frame or something like that, something from the heart.
Yeah, I know that he's getting the 10-second violation. He was actually timed out for the
free throw.
Yeah, this week for 10 seconds. They're all chanting to 10 because he takes so long. Do you think that's a bedroom thing as well? Do you think people are, you know?
Do you reckon his wife is counting down and booing once he goes past the 10-second mark?
Well, that's 10 seconds is a long time. I want to put that out there.
He looks like the type of guy that he knows what he's doing. 7 foot. I feel like somewhere around there. He seems like he knows what he's doing.
Anytime he gets near the rim, it's going in, basically.
Pretty much.
In a basketball sense.
Yeah.
So, actually, you know what? I hope he's extremely talented, extremely charismatic, extremely rich and successful. I hope he's not well endowed at all.
You're right.
Just keep things balanced.
Just, balance it out. He's got a lot of great things going for him.
Too
You're
many.
right. Yeah, exactly. Just at least give me one of those things. that would be nice. Just something. That's all right. Now, I've been watching a lot of World Cup football, obviously, as you guys have at the moment, and loving the penalty shootout. I mean, it's high drama. I'm thinking now for another point in the starting five, is it time to bring in like a shootout at the end of the NBA instead of overtime?
Instead of overtime
So you
altogether.
get 5 players, 5 shots each. What do you reckon?
It would be interesting.
Sometimes it fizzles out. Like overtime the other night, I think Anthony Davis, got a free throw and they went through in the Lakers game. I was like, this is exciting. Then they got blown out, and I was like, oh, that was a downer.
It could be a good one, yeah. I feel like a new initiative in the NBA wouldn't be a bad thing as well. Although sometimes, like most of the time, it's electrifying all the overtimes and stuff. They're always great. But like
maybe like a double overtime, like that weird cricket when they had to bowl against the wickets that one
Yeah,
time.
Exactly, yeah.
5 3 throws, that'd be great.
You bring 5 players out, each get a shot each, and then
Game of
decide at the
horse.
end. Or horse.
So just play horse and start shooting from halfway and stuff like that. Well, to be fair, they've all got that almost within their arsenal now, shooting from the logo and almost from halfway too. So, I mean, it could, but I wouldn't want to get rid of overtime. Maybe triple overtime.
Right,
when you bring it in.
Okay, well, actually, speaking of like amazing shots during the week, Steph Curry, there was a social video with him nailing like 5 shots from like basically the full court, right? And everyone was like, oh my God, can he actually do it? And he was asked in a press conference.
A lot of people did believe that it was legit for, I think some people still believe it's real.
Yeah, but it's an ultimate compliment to probably be amazed by it, but not think it's outlandish that it could be real. But we had some fun with it. The Sports Illustrated team coming with some heat. I did make 2 of them though, just in case anybody was wondering.
So obviously it was a fake. You can't believe anything at the moment. Although Steve Kerr did say that he thought once he saw him get more than 3 out of 5, he was like, this is a fake. But up until the 3rd one, he was like, maybe he could do that.
So was it a fake?
It was a fake, yeah. But he did actually say he nailed a couple of the shots from there. He just didn't nail 5 in a row, which is fair enough. I mean, even Steph Curry can miss from full court.
Well, I think, Steph, as the greatest shooter that's ever lived, people see anything like that and you'll believe it. Like, if you showed me him shooting it from 100 meters away and getting it in, I'd be like, oh my God, he's so good. I believe that 100%.
Do you reckon you can nail it from half court if you had the opportunity?
Me?
Yeah.
How many opportunities?
Ooh.
Just one? In front of a packed crowd?
Yeah.
With the game on the line? Absolutely not. Joel?
I reckon 10 shots I could do it.
Eyebrows.
Yeah.
10 shots on a good day I could do it.
We did it like years ago when we had a TV show, sports comedy show. We did this thing. Well, long story. We had a mascot that was one of the characters on Pop Sport, and we had it jumping out of a plane.
Was he a fox? What was
it? Was a fox. It was like a fox.
Yeah.
It was, I think ZM was Rox the Fox back in the day, and we borrowed it for a wee bit. And so he jumped out of a plane, and then he landed behind us as we were doing a link. It was epic because we had shots up and parachuting and stuff. And I purposely screwed up the intro as a gag, going, can we do that again? And I'm like, no, of course you can't, because that mascot's just parachuted. So then the next idea, we're like, let's do a half-court shot from the mascot, and then we'll purposely screw it up again. And my mate, who's quite good at basketball, got in the suit. He was like, probably take a while. We're like, oh, cool. But he nailed the first one, and we were not ready for him to nail the first shot from half court. And then for the next hour, he could not get another one.
Oh, no.
But he was like, guys, I nailed it first up. And we were like, oh, did he actually? Oh, and we didn't. We actually screwed it up, but not funnily enough screwing it up. So, yeah. So it's tough. It's tough.
It is. It's a weird thing, too. I was in a similar situation, Joel, and you can talk about your comedy sports show after this, where I had to
Is this not the point of this? I thought it was going to regale. Sit down, kids. I'm going to regale stories of back in the olden days when people watched telly.
I miss television. But I had to hit a 3-pointer, literally just as like a real quick part of this massive video we were doing for the Olympics or something.
Yeah.
And I can shoot threes. Not amazing, but I can shoot threes. It took me half an hour just because there were cameras, everyone was standing, and I had to say a line, then hit a three. And I just, in the end, we just like, nah, can't do it. And then I just didn't do it. No. And then literally once we packed up, I was like, I can do this, and didn't hit one straight away. Something about the cameras.
I don't have any, no comedy sports stories. Sorry, guys.
Oh, what the hell?
Hey, the other thing that happened this week I thought was quite amusing. There was a dog on the court. And I think this was a college game as well.
And there's a dog on the floor. Oh my God, I love it. A border collie is running around the Smith Center. How many times do you see that?
You wouldn't imagine, like, how does that work? Like, who's bringing their dog along to a game inside?
Did they say it was a border collie?
Yeah, it was a border
a sheepdog.
Yeah.
Jeepers. Well, as someone who has owned a border collie in the past, taking them into an indoor court with hundreds of people is a really, really terrible idea.
They seem really smart, though, quite switched on, right?
Very smart. I mean, for a dog, you know, you wouldn't get them to do your taxes or anything, but like they just go nuts when there's a lot of people. They would start rounding everyone up, because when we used to play ping pong, it'd just do laps of the table trying to round us up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it could probably try and round the players up on the court.
It'll just start doing laps and just not stopping. That's what my experience.
We never saw the name of the dog, but I thought maybe it could have been Drew Howarday. Okay.
Drew Howard or Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. Paul Trick Ewing. Paul Trick Ewing.
Chris Paul.
Charles Barkley obviously works
There
quite
you
well.
go.
Yeah, and the Barclay Centre is the other one. That was probably the better two. I should have started with those.
Snarls Barkley.
Oh, yes.
You know, just
Snarls.
What do you reckon, Joel?
I agree. Good names. Great puns there, Ben.
Got to bring some puns in, but actually on the post I saw on social media, this came after television, so your social media.
Sweet.
So you probably, this is your sweet spot. They put earbud. They were like, "Is this earbud? Is this
really?
And I was like, well, what has been off the top of your head? What has been your favorite basketball movie of all time?"
That's a huge one. I mean, growing up, obviously, I can rap along to the Space Jam theme song. Just
tarnished a little bit. The R. Kelly song, is really,
Yeah, and then now that you mention it, I completely forgot about it. I was actually talking about "Come on, Islam, and welcome to the jam." That's what I was.
That was a great. Yeah, there was some great. It was a great. I think I had a CD of the soundtrack.
Great tune. And Basketball Jones on there as well by Barry White.
Yeah, I think Chris Rock was on that one, was he?
Yeah, Chris Rock. Yeah. Very weird combo, but I'd probably have to say my favorite.
Hit him high, Lou, hit him low,
hit him low, hit him. Coming straight from the zone. No, we won't get into that, but. I'd probably have to lock in Coach Carter, although I haven't seen it in a long time. I bet it's not very good anymore.
I've actually never seen Space Jam. That's very bad. That's just lowering.
Not the first
I'm
or
just
the
really
second one?
lowering all my credibility on the show today. Not that there was.
Okay, well there you go. Let's see what you've seen. There's Space Jam, obviously. There's Space Jam 1 in the new version. There's Thunderstruck with Kevin Durant. For some reason, they decided Kevin Durant, who's doesn't say much at all times, he'd be good for acting. He's actually fine in it, but he doesn't really show much personality normally.
No.
That was a good movie. I watched it with my kids. You've got White Men Can't Jump, obviously.
I haven't seen that.
Iconic movie from back in the day. Spoiler alert, the White Men Can't Jump.
You're joking.
Yeah.
White men can shoot mid-range twos.
Yeah. White Men Can't podcast. That's what I'm proving at the moment too. Coach Carter, as you said before, Samuel L. Jackson. That's a good one.
Yep.
I think Channing Tatum, a young Channing Tatum might have been in that
Channing Tatum's in that one. Twister and Mary J. Blige did the theme song, which is hopeful. Great tune. Also, one that's on my list to watch that I haven't yet is Hustle with Adam Sandler.
They're very good.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They've got David Dallas's song is used in there.
You're joking?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's used
Running.
as the sort of montage, but in that, which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
Shit, that's cool.
That was also on NBA 2K, like 2K14 or something.
Yeah,
One of the
Running
most-
was, yeah.
and it was, and then they just randomly brought it back out for Hustle as well.
That was awesome.
And so that movie's good?
Yeah, it was actually really cool. It's a quite, if you're going along thinking it's Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore sort of laugh, it's quite gritty and quite, but it's good.
Okay.
The guy who plays Bo Cruz, who's one of who's the main basketballer, who's still kind of playing.
Hernan Gomez?
Yes, yeah, he's really good as well as a basketballer turned actor. I mean, they can all kind of do it over there.
Yeah, actually, I've just spotted a photo that Joel's just quickly Googling basketball movies there. Tropic Thunder.
No, Tropic Thunder.
No, what is it?
no,
Semi-pro.
The Flint
Semi-pro.
Tropics.
Semi-pro.
Tropic
Yeah.
Thunder. That's the movie about Vietnam, isn't it?
Sorry.
No, semi-pro.
wasn't
That's,
as much
that's
basketball
the
in that
one.
one.
That's actually the one I have seen.
Yeah.
The Will Ferrell one.
That's
That's
good.
right. And the reason I said
Jackie Moon.
Jackie Moon,
doesn't
yeah.
like Klay Thompson love Will Ferrell's character in that. I
Yeah.
think he does.
because he dresses up as him for Halloween all the time. But the reason I said Tropic Thunder is because they're the Flint Tropics.
Yes.
Is the name of their team.
Yeah.
I still know basketball, guys.
Yeah.
Now that is the starting five. We're handing it over to Joel Harrison's stat bunker.
I actually saw a good fact this week, a good stat. It's a bit of a like Captain Obvious fact here, though. It's every time the Golden State Warriors have played and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry have scored more than 30 points, they've never lost a game. 14-0.
Wow.
So hang on. So say that again. Every time they're playing.
Every
and
time they've played,
of course they have.
they've both scored 30 points. They've never lost a game when they've both scored 30 points.
Well,
Can we get the stat bunker sound effect again? Nice.
Yeah, so
Well,
that was my
that's- yeah, 'cause
big stat from the week.
That's them scoring a lot of points, obviously. Two of them in the team.
So what you're saying is every time the best team in modern NBA history's best two players score a lot of points, they win.
Well, hey, it's still a stat, guys.
No,
And
it's a
you
great
can
stat.
take it. 14-0.
Jesus, what's it like down in the bunker, by the way?
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Also, another one for the ACC fans. Someone actually asked me this the other day, has any NBA player ever worn the number 69? And no, they haven't. That is the answer.
Who asked you that?
Sorry?
Who asked you that?
Big fan of the podcast. I forgot his name as well.
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, so that's another
Sounds
one
like
on stat
something
bunker.
that you just Googled. But yeah, that's good.
I just had, can I get the stat bunker sound effect real quick? Chris Key's stat bunker. I heard this fact yesterday while watching the Lakers play Detroit. Maybe it was yesterday, the day before. Jalen Duren, who is now the starting center in Detroit. So if you're in a 12-team fantasy league, pick him up. He's going to be a double-double machine. He was born during LeBron's first season. And he was up against LeBron.
Yes.
So when LeBron first started in the league, Jalen Duren wasn't even born yet. He is 19, starting center. 6'10", so small for a center, but amazing hops.
Wow.
And he literally wasn't even born when LeBron made his debut, and now they were playing on the court.
Because there's
against
all
one
those
another.
pictures of LeBron playing against the dads
Yeah,
of some of the players.
absolutely.
It's there. He's been riding it out through generations.
That's right. And so, yeah, so Duren is 19. LeBron was 18 when he started, I think. So, yeah, it's an amazing... See, I mean, I don't want to take over the stat bunker category.
Oh, I
but,
feel like you're doing a better job of it.
just not compare bunkers, you know. It's not,
And he's the first person. He's the first person in the
Oh, here
league.
you go. He's got to upstat. It's
In
like
the
a
league
rat
that was born
8 mile.
in the LeBron James generation, you know? So, yeah, that's just another one for you.
Yeah. And
Oh,
LeBron
wow.
James also remembers television. So some of the anecdotes that I would tell, LeBron James would be right in
He'd be
that
getting
sweet
them.
house. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge pop sport fan back then. And crowd goes wild, actually.
Yeah, he was a big fan of Crowd Goes Wild. He loves it. All right, time for us to take a break, pay some bills, and we'll be back to see how our fantasy team's getting on. All right, let's take a look at how things are going in the fantasy world.
Hey there. What's your fantasy?
Sorry, fantasy basketball? Yeah, basketball.
Joel Harrison there, like the acting performance. If he's not nominated for an Academy Award next year, it's a crime.
You know when someone's born for a role?
Yeah. We talked about the 10-second violation for Giannis potentially in the bedroom. I imagine that's a similar. Anyway,
What are you going to do for the rest of it?
Fumbly, you know, it's me. It's my game as well. But how are we going in the fantasy lineup? We're actually doing really well as the ACC team, right? And it's been with you, producer Adam.
Just like last week, we didn't do anything except for just set the team to autoplay each day, and we won again 6-3. So currently, boys, we are 7-0, the only unbeaten team in the whole entire league.
No one's hating it more than Keezy at the moment as well.
I'm out here eating crap in my fantasy league.
Yeah, I'm
'cause
struggling
injuries
too.
and stuff.
And so many injuries, eh?
Yeah, and meanwhile, you guys are doing nothing and just coasting to victory. Good for you guys. I mean, for me, it just justifies why you're working on this podcast. You know, that knowledge.
Do you think that we're falling into maybe becoming like the Suns of that league, you know, the fantasy league, that people are starting to hate on us maybe? There's a risk that could be happening?
I guess I'll be the debooker in that scenario then as well, if that's the opportunity. The most hated guy on the podcast as well. So, yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, the thing as well that really does it for me is that Storm Hitoa drafted it and then left.
Yeah. He did a great job of drafting.
Oh, he did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you made no changes whatsoever, Adam?
Absolutely none. I only started the team at the start of the week, didn't do anything else. There was injuries, there was everything, and we still won 6-3.
Wow.
How's your personal fantasy going, Keezy?
Oh, look, just great. No, mine's in a weird sort of time at the moment because I've got a whole lot of guys like Andrew Wiggins, someone else as well, Al Horford. These guys that have just got like niggly little day-to-day injuries, and you get about 5 of them at once, and it's a pain in the ass. But a couple of fantasy tidbits I was thinking about on the way here. The first one was Jalen Duren, who I mentioned, plays for Detroit. He's starting center as of like 1 game ago. And so he's been a guy that everyone's been like, oh, just start him. I can't even remember who they had starting at center, but he was useless. They've finally done it. So if he is on your waiver wire, go and grab him. And the other one is Al Horford. He is 35, I think, or 34. So he's been around the traps for a long time. He's been playing center, and Robert Williams is about to come back for the Celtics. So a lot of people I've noticed are dropping Al Horford and if Robert Williams is on your wire, go grab him because he's a beast in terms of steals and blocks. But last year, Al Horford was a machine with Robert Williams, so don't drop him. He'll just slot to power forward. They'll get rid of one of their guards. I think it's Derek White that's been filling in. He'll go to the bench, and Al Horford will continue to be awesome. So don't drop him, and if anyone does, pick him up.
Do you play the tactic in your fantasy of having a couple of players that are dispensable at any stage?
Oh, yes.
A Joel Harrison of the lineup.
Yeah, massively.
Someone who's not comfortable with it, you can get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tactic called streaming. I don't know if you guys know about that, where you just like have these 2 players on your team, and whoever's team has got the most games that week, you just bring in their best candidates off the wire, and you just stream them in each week to get more games. So that's the strategy. But my goal is always just to have 1 to 13 of players I like and don't want to drop.
All right, so you sort of form a bond.
How's that going for you this season?
Yeah, no, that's my goal.
Oh, yeah.
I have about 10 and 3 absolute scrubs who are just in and out, just trying to find the next person. So, yeah, it's hard to go full 13 of like studs across the board, in my experience anyway. So,
all right, that's the fantasy chat for another week. Let's look at some alley-oops.
It's the big alley-oop. It's not the one, It's not the one.
This week, Charles Barkley or Snarls Barkley, was that what we're going for? Oh, that was the dog.
Barkley.
That was the dog version of Charles Barkley. Well, he had a bit of trouble remembering Jason Tatum.
The MVP in the league right now. No disrespect to Luka, no disrespect to AD. That boy in Boston right now, he kicking ass and taking names. His name is Jason Taylor. Jason Tatum.
I mean, that was an almost perfect delivery up until this.
That is so good.
You could tell that midway through, he was like, oh, hang on. He was like, that guy, that boy, that and the thing, just giving yourself a little bit of time for the break. I mean, it happens to us all. I mean, I started the podcast today very fumbly. But Jason Taylor is, I'm sure he's playing well too.
I just love Charles Barkley because he's talking about the best player in the league right now, and he couldn't even get the name right. But he also used to have a segment called Who He Play For, which is when they'd put up guys that were on NBA rosters and be like, okay, who does this guy play for? And he would have no idea. And quite often there'll be people in the starting lineups of these teams, so that's quite funny.
I love that show, though, that they do. They're great. And there was a bit, though, this week, Kenny Smith and Shaq running across the studio, and Kenny Smith ended up pushing Shaq. He ended up in a Christmas tree.
Don't cheat, Chuck. Don't cheat. Get your butt out of here.
Oh, that was bad right there. That was bad. That was bad.
All right, Kenny. Yeah, I'm all right.
Shaq was like a tree being felled, too. You can tell when the momentum started to go. He's a big dude. It's just all got to go. And we're all just straight in there. And he couldn't get up for a while.
It's like someone cut down a giant sequoia that landed on a Christmas tree there. But, Joel, I don't know, listening to the show, well, when I watch it, I like it because it's entertaining, but it's mostly just giggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It sounds like they're having a great time as well.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're just getting paid tens of millions of dollars to have fun and talk about basketball.
It must be quite sought after, that role, as for former players. They must look at that and go, that's what I want to do. But only if you get to do it.
Yeah, and you have to have the right personality type. I love Ernie Johnson, who's just randomly in the middle there wearing vintage jackets. And, and the other boys are all messing around and stuff. The other guy I really like, who also struggles with names, is Kendrick Perkins. Because he says some outrageous stuff, just like Charles Barkley, and he sucks at saying certain players' names. Like, you should hear him trying to say Moses Moody, who plays for the Golden State Warriors. He's like, Moses Moody. It's so funny. So getting him in there, I'd love that, actually.
Because Shaq, I love Shaq. Always been a big fan of him, but he's quite mumbly. Like, he's quite
hugely mumbly.
No, but he does a great job on telly. It just kind of works.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting, like, because you're right. You have to sort of like really listen to what he's actually saying to make it out. Because you know what I mean. You know what I mean, Joe?
I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean, big time. I was just going to say, and I got another alley-oops as well.
Oh, yeah.
To add. It's actually back in the NBA with the Breakers.
Oh, good.
They've had a bit of a slip up recently as well. To be honest, they lost to the Wildcats first up, and then they went down again to the Sydney Kings. And apparently, I watched a bit of the game, but the Sydney Kings were just like all over them. They're saying the Breakers are so dirty as well. And their coach said that he compares them to the All Blacks, the physicality, but it seems like a lot of the Australian teams really dislike the Breakers at the moment as well. Maybe it's because they're top of the league, maybe because they're winning. But yeah.
All right. Well, we've been we've been the battler team. That's it probably had more championships. Well, it has had more championships in an Australian competition, I think, than any of our other teams, like in the league or the football and stuff like that. So they're going well. They're still at the top of the table, or near the top of the table, right? I think they were second.
They're second now. Yeah, they're 16 and 11, and then the top of the 14 and 10.
And a final little bit of audio this week to play. This was very cute. This is Cannon Curry walking out. So Steph Curry's little kid walking out with the players after the game. They're walking back to the dressing room, and he turned around and he noticed Klay Thompson.
Let go.
Hello, Klay Thompson.
I just love how he's like, hello, Klay Thompson, like full name. But some people's names always work like, better in a full name situation, right?
Well, I assume that they'd be like hanging out all the time as well. So, like Uncle Clay or something.
He just turns around and he's like, hello, Klay Thompson. Yeah, so it's super cute.
It is very cute.
Like, it probably it aged him up about 30 years at the same time, but I thought it was a very cute moment.
Well, what about when you had very young kids? Would your kids go, hello, Jono Pryor?
Well, yeah.
Jonathan Pryor?
Well, now my kids know that if they want to get me moving somewhere, they just call me Jono. They're like, all right, Jono, come on, hurry up.
Oh, wow.
And that's good, because no one ever knows which one I am out of Jono or Ben. They take a 50-50 punt. My kids for a while will go, why did that person call you Jono? So now they just go, come on, Jono, let's go. So that's quite good.
I went through a phase of and it's quite interesting when people that watch like the shows that you've been a part of or something, they see you and they recognize the name of the show, right? Or like a segment, and people just used to go, smashed it, bro, and point at my face, and I'd be like, yeah. So I don't know how you're supposed to react to those situations, but yeah.
It's kind of one of those things, I guess, is the first thing that pops into someone's head, right?
Yeah, they just say it.
The recollection. I saw Klay Thompson during the week too. He folded a very good paper plane at a press conference too. That's kind of his thing.
Right.
So yeah, watch it. Yeah, Jordan Poole was like saying, hey, he's the best in the team at doing it. I think he just gets bored in press conferences and can fold a paper plane. But a stat I'd heard that when him and Steph score more than 30 points.
Hey, mate, just leave the stats to me.
They win most of their games because they're the best two players, and why wouldn't they? But anyway, that's a little stat from me, just to end the podcast.
I'll come back with some epic new stats for next year, I think. So I'll come back.
Stat. I did like that. I'm sorry to
I'll come back with a notebook full of stats, and you guys are going to be blown out of the water.
Just ones that put a smile on your dial, Joel.
No, it's good.
That's all we want,
good, mate. We like this sort of pent-up aggression that we've all got towards each other. It's good. It's good. I don't know if we'll be back. That is the Benchwarmers for another week. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and all that other stuff. Enjoy the basketball. We'll catch you soon.